It seems Apple is gearing up to bring some pretty bold changes to all iPhone 18 models, not just the Pros. Google just got serious about giving you a full-blown fitness coach on its recent updates to Fitbit. Apple's 2027 iPhones made a lot of buzz recently, and I kind of understand why. More controversial changes are coming to Samsung's next phones, though there is some good news baked in. And yes, Apple's iPhone 17e is rumored to bring yet another bold change for the lineup. I'm Jaime Rivera, and if you haven't subscribed to our podcast with Josh, would love to see you there as episode 2 launches this week. For now, though, it's time for these 5 interesting topics. This is Tech Briefing, powered by MediaTek. The official news today begins with Google. The company is rolling out its public preview of Fitbit Coach in the United States with a wider release over the next week. In a nutshell, this is a pretty interesting use case for AI as it powers a personal health coach built on Google's Gemini models, combining the roles of a fitness trainer, sleep expert, and wellness advisor. Yes, it is Gemini, but built within the Fitbit app though, so you won't necessarily see a connection between the services. Users need a Fitbit Premium subscription and a modern Fitbit smartwatch tracker or Pixel Watch to access it on Android, with iOS support coming later. This includes a full UI redesign that's far more detailed and intuitive and modular, though you can switch it off if you're used to the old one. Fitbit Coach offers 3 main tabs, being the Fitness tab, Sleep tab, and Health tab, which measure a full-blown set of metrics, and then think of the coach as a service that pretty much marries everything together whenever you need it. For example, if you tell it that you want to run a half marathon on a specific date, the coach will then recommend the plan, but then based on your performance results or any delays in your progress, the coach can then adapt your workouts to meet you where you are, which I find to be pretty cool. Users interact with the coach through an Ask Coach chat, with the system generating charts, summaries, and actionable suggestions tailored to individual goals. It still is a work in progress, with a full rollout later this year, but the idea is pretty cool in helping you build for a goal instead of just giving you daily results. Expect more information on it in my Pixel Watch 4 review coming soon. This is actually what I was waiting to proceed, so I'm curious to know what you think about all this in the comments. I'll switch to Samsung, as rumors on the Galaxy S26 and Trifold are both weird and good. Let's start with the odd news on the Galaxy S26 series, as reports have it that the company is facing delays, shifting what's typically the first major smartphone launch of the year to a later date. While Samsung has gradually moved up its flagship releases from March to January in recent years, Ice Universe and WinFuture suggest that the Galaxy S26 lineup will now arrive in late February or early March. The delay marks a return to the timing of older Galaxy launches like the S22 and S23 series, and comes amid growing reports that the Galaxy S26 plans have been less smooth than expected, with redesign changes being scrapped, the Pro models not being much of a change, the Edge being cancelled, and more devices launching with 2nm Exynos chips, which sound good at least on paper. But then for the good news, we hear that Samsung is gearing up to unveil its long-anticipated Trifold smartphone at the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation (APEC) 2025 Summit in Korea from October 31st to November 1st. The device is rumored to be called the Galaxy Z Fold or Galaxy Z Trifold, and will be produced in extremely limited quantities between 50,000 and 200,000 units, and carry a steep $2,800 price tag, which is actually less expensive than many of us were speculating. Now, the full launch is expected in select markets, including South Korea, the United States, China, and the UAE over time, though we're not exactly sure when. I'm curious to know what you think about the news in the comments. Now let's switch to Apple, as we hear the company wants to get even more aggressive about its iPhone 17e. Historically, this phone only gets changes every couple of years, and even then these don't guarantee design updates, though reports have it that that's about to change. We heard months ago that there would be an iPhone 17e, but now we hear it won't just be a spec bump. The Digital Chat Station is claiming that this new phone will include Apple's Dynamic Island, which, yeah, it's welcomed after the notch was just recently introduced in the 16e. That being said, we do wonder what will be the source device for this panel, and given the rumors point that the screen will be of only 60 Hz, we're thinking of a panel from the base iPhone 14, 15, or 16 at 6.1 inches diagonal. On the positive front, we hear Apple's A19 chip is powering the show, so if the iPhone 16e was already legendary in endurance given the C1 modem, bigger battery, and the chip efficiencies, imagine this package being added to this new model, at a more efficient 60 Hz. Watch my review of the iPhone 17 to notice just how good that combo already performs on that base model with a high refresh rate. We're expecting it to launch at a similar time frame as this year, around April 2026, so set your calendars. I'm hoping it doesn't mean a boost in price tag though, which has been happening slightly over the last couple launches. I'm curious to know if you're excited about this phone in the comments. Let's continue with Apple, as there were a lot of separate rumors regarding the 2027 iPhone, so let me just bake them into one segment. Reports have it that Apple is planning to redo what it did in 2017 and skipping the iPhone 9 in favor of the iPhone 10 name. In 2027, it seems that what we're getting is the iPhone 20 series, according to a recent report from Omdia. The company is planning a biannual launch schedule, releasing the iPhone 18e and iPhone 18 on the first half of the year, followed by the next generation iPhone Air, iPhone 20 Pro, and 20 Pro Max, in addition to the second generation foldable in the fall. Yeah, that's assuming the Air survives, which it seems it will. The idea is to spread sales a bit more evenly across the year and support volume growth. The 2027 iPhones are also expected to introduce a new imaging technology called LOFIC, or lateral overflow integration capacitor, which allows sensors to capture far more detail in both bright and dark areas of a scene, achieving up to 20 stops of dynamic range, which is comparable to high-end cinema cameras. Apple's LOFIC sensors will reportedly feature a stacked design with dedicated light capture and processing layers, improving space efficiency and real-time noise reduction. Alongside the new sensor, the anniversary iPhone could adopt a radical design with a bezel-less display that curves around all four edges, though yeah, I wonder how they're going to pull that off. I'm curious to know what you think about this in the comments. And before we get to the hottest news, let me tell you about today's sponsor, MediaTek. Yes, the company powers most smart TVs in the market today, but what if your current TV is already aging and getting sluggish and you're not ready to upgrade just yet? Well, meet Google's TV Streamer 4K, powered by MediaTek's 8696 processor. It allows you to pretty much turn any TV or monitor into the fastest smart TV money can buy. It gives you full access to Google TV and more than enough RAM for you to jump between applications without these having to reload all the time. It lets you control your smart home with ease and even pair your Pixel Buds for whenever you want more immersive watching. It's yet another example of how MediaTek powers some of the smartest experiences in the world today. Thanks to MediaTek for sponsoring this video. And finally, for the hottest news today, let's continue with Apple, though now with the iPhone 18 series. Even with all the rumors of the iPhone 20, it seems the company is still planning to get quite ambitious with its plans for next year. According to the Bell, all four iPhone 18 models will feature at least 12 gigabytes of LPDDR5X RAM supplied by Samsung, ending the memory gap between the base and Pro models for the first time ever. This boost in memory supports Apple's growing focus in on-device AI processing. The lineup will also be powered by the new A20 and A20 Pro chips, built on TSMC's cutting-edge 2nm process, promising major efficiencies and performance gains. Some versions may even feature integrated RAM directly on the chip for faster data access and lower power consumption. Also, the rumors of the staggered iPhone launches begin here, with the Air, Pro, Pro Max, and Foldable in late 2026, and the 18 and 18e in early 2027. We also got more insights into the variable aperture conversation we heard about a few weeks ago. It seems this might benefit not just the primary, but also the telephoto, but I'm hoping it's not that the translation was poorly interpreted. I'll keep you posted. Heck, we even heard on a separate report that Apple could add full 5G satellite internet as early as next year, beyond just SOS and Find My features. I mean, we hear Apple partnered with SpaceX and Starlink on a few initiatives, so yeah, this does sound pretty cool if it happens to work without additional hardware, as the report claims. If this ends up happening, it would give the iPhone a clear edge over what every other company is doing, but yeah, I'm already wondering how this will fly with US carriers. In today's question, let me know. Would you like a fully satellite-connected iPhone and get one if that would ever happen? Because, listen, in my case, you bet. I've heard how great Starlink can be, but I'm curious to know what you think about all this in the comments. Friends, thanks so much for joining on another episode of Tech Briefing. Please like, subscribe, and join the conversation in the comments, as I'm sure you've seen me try to respond to as many as I can. Also, follow me on social media as more behind-the-scenes work continues to happen there. By the way, our first podcast episode with Josh is now live. Our new show is called Technically There, and the first episode actually explains it all, though the prep for episode 2 is happening this week. Would really appreciate your support with a subscribe there as well, along with your feedback as the show is built for you. I'm Jaime Rivera. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one.